Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Prescott.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. This is wonderful. Hello, YouTube. My name is Hildy Gottlieb, and I am the author of the Pollyanna Principles, Reinventing Nonprofit Organizations to Create the Future of Our World. And we are indeed creating the future right now with every action we take. Today's reality is the result of thousands of actions and decisions and occurrences that happened in the unchangeable past. We cannot change the past, and we cannot change the present. As organizations and as individuals, however, we can indeed create the future. And we are doing so right now, whether we do so consciously or not. Those are the opening words to the Pollyanna Principles. And in the book, I go on to talk about the future that I would like to create. And I'm going to guess that it is very similar to the futures that you all want to create. We all want healthy, vibrant communities. We all want resilient, compassionate places to live. And that's why most of us got into this work in the first place. That's why you're doing the work that you do, because this is the difference we want to make. The question that has driven the work that my business partner Dimitri Petropoulos and I have been doing for the past 11 years is this one then. With all the work we're doing, and nobody could ever say we're not, any of you not working hard enough? Nobody could ever say we're not working hard enough. With the millions of people around the world who are employed in this sector, and the millions of volunteers, and the millions of board members, and the billions of dollars, if this is the sector that was supposed to change the world, how come the world hasn't changed yet? And that is the question that has driven the work that Dimitri and I have been doing for the past 11 years. It is critically important to us because in 1993 we changed our lives to do this work. The work that we were doing prior to this, both of us have very strong community organizing backgrounds, but we also came right out of business turnaround. And in 1993, we had the opportunity to buy the business turnaround company that we were working at. And we sort of looked at each other and Dimitri's wife and said, you know, we don't really want to be doing this. What we want to do is take these business turnaround skills and make the world a better place. We want to know that when we wake up in the morning, we go to bed at night, that the world is a better place for what we had done. And about 5 years into that, in 1998, we were doing great. Our business was good. It was all by referral, which is sort of consultant nirvana when everything is by referral. We were doing governance work, and we were doing strategic planning, and we were doing resource development planning. And we suddenly looked up and realized that the reason we'd gotten into doing that work, no matter how good everybody thought we weren't making a difference. We were doing a strategic plan for a food bank, and yet had we never even done that plan, and they never implemented it, their community would be no closer to ending hunger. We said, what is this all about? Well, being the practical sorts, if any of you have ever done business turnaround, there is nothing more practical than business turnaround. And so we did what you do in business turnaround. You rip it apart, you put it back together again, and you see what works. And so we started to pull it apart, and we started to say, why is all this work not working? We found two reasons. The first reason is that the work we're doing doesn't aim at creating extraordinary communities. The work we're doing isn't aiming at creating an extraordinary future. What it's doing is focusing on today. Now, that's not to say today isn't important. Today is critically important. We want to provide arts and theater performances today. We want to clean the environment today. We want to take care of abused babies today. But we also need to be looking at the future we're creating. The second reason we found that we're not creating extraordinary change is even if we were aiming at it, our tools don't aim at that. Strategic planning and governance and resource development don't aim at creating an extraordinary future. And so being the practitioners that we were, we said, okay, if this tool isn't working, let's create another one. And we started to bust up everything, strategic planning and governance and resource development. And we tried a lot of stuff. Well, this seems to be working. Well, this doesn't, so we won't do that anymore. And this seems to be aiming groups at more change, and we'll keep doing that. And the more we started to codify and put things together that were aiming organizations in all those internal ways, of doing their work more focused both on today and the future, we found that those things that worked all adhered to certain principles. And that the things that weren't working either didn't adhere to those principles or actually went counter to them. And those are where the Pollyanna principles come from. They are not airy-fairy, we're all going to hold hands and sing the Age of Aquarius. We're not going to ask you to do all kinds of drawing of pictures. These are really practical. These are practical principles that came interesting enough for us, not from, well, here are the principles that have to happen and let's create some stuff. First we created what worked and then said, why is it working? And what we found is that they adhered to those principles. What the principles will show, and I will share with you today, is that creating visionary change in our communities and our world is not only possible, it is practical and it is doable. So let's start breaking that down and see how do we make visionary community change practical and doable in this region and in the world.